What's up guys, Plan Commander here, and welcome to another tier list video. Today, I am joined by, I think, a new channel guest. I think?
Yeah! This is my first time on the channel.
That's surprising. We've known each other for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising.
So yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm the Otaku artist, but you can just call me Kai. And I'm a YouTuber who makes animation and art. And I love Pikmin a lot, so that's why I'm here today.
And I love Pikmin so much that I named myself after it. And today we're going to be talking about the bosses. So, here in this tier list template, we have all of the bosses from Pikmin 1, 2, and 3, and Hey Pikmin for the 3DS.
Yes, the cursed fourth one that some people love and some people hate it.
Alright, so starting with the Burrowing snagret. Now, for the ones that are in multiple games, I think, for the most part, with like maybe one or two exceptions, they're kind of the same across the entire series.
Yeah, pretty much.
The only real difference I can even think of with the Burrowing snagret is that in Pikmin 3 you have like different types to work with. So like you have wings.
With wings, they're pretty easy to take down with wings.
It's a lot easier with wing Pikmin.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, these things are so annoying in Pikmin 1 specifically.
Oh, Pikmin 1, you can have a whole swarm get killed.
Yeah, and the reason I don't like them in 1 is because there's this one spot in Forest of Hope where there's 3 of them right next to each other.
And only one of them has the ship part, and you don't know which one until you kill it.
Yes, and I don't like that because, like, if you want to go into the middle, which is generally the best idea when dealing with snagrets, all 3 of them are gonna pop out and be like, hello, food!
And not even that, but the thing is, to get to there, if you don't have blues, then you can easily lose Pikmin on the way because there's this little narrow place, and then you have to push a cardboard box.
Can't you cheese that with yellows?
The thing is, I'm someone who tries to get it like as fast as possible, so I often have my reds just drown, and then I lose some before I get there.
See, I always did it the legit way, because I played Pikmin 1 on GameCube, not Wii, and from what I understand, that's a lot easier to do in the Wii version.
Yeah, I have the Wii version.
Because like the GameCube one does not let you get away with that much.
I'm also someone who tries to get that one ship part as soon as possible, where you can't get it until blues, but if you throw reds over and then climb up as Olimar, you can get it.
Yeah.
I always do that too.
So, what are you thinking tier-wise for this thing? Because I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too easy in later games, but in Pikmin 1, they're just annoying.
I'd say maybe a B or a C.
I think I'm gonna put it in C, just because like the ones we'll get to later are a lot more interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the armored cannon beetle.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I like this thing.
I'm kind of sad that it only appears like once or twice.
I think there's 2 of them. They're only in Pikmin 1, and I think there's 2. There's one in Forest of Hope, and I think there's one in whatever the third area is. I forget what it's called.
The third area as in the Forest Naval or the water area?
The water one.
Oh, the perplexing pool.
No, that's Pikmin 2. What's it called in 1?
I forget.
Oh, well, whatever. And the point is, I like the idea of this boss.
I wish that it showed up, especially like in Pikmin 3, you could use like rock Pikmin against it if it existed in that game.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's cool.
I really like it. I think it's underrated.
I think I'm gonna put it in. I'm thinking either A or B.
Yeah, I'd say either A or B is a good place for it.
I think I'll put it in A, and if we feel the need to move it down later, we can.
Yeah.
Alright, so this thing, I'll be honest, I forgot this thing existed. Ghoulix, is it called? Ghoulix. Ghoulix. I have it pulled up on the Pikmin wiki.
Yeah, Ghoulix. Ghoulix is weird because it doesn't need to exist.
It doesn't have a part, does it? I think it's completely optional.
No, it doesn't have a part. You just can get it's marble gives 100 Pikmin, but like honestly, at the point that you'd have it spawn and go back to the first area,
Yeah.
there's not really a reason to get 100 Pikmin. You don't really need it.
Because, like, it spawns only after, like, a certain day, right? Like, I think, like, maybe
Yeah.
after day 10 or something. It's pretty late.
Yeah,
So it's
And
kind
the
of
thing is-
pointless.
it's kind of annoying as well because when you throw the Pikmin at it, like the Pikmin will aim for the marble instead of the brain, so then they'll just flung off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more pain than it's worth.
And at the same time, it's also, like, it doesn't do anything either. Like, it's completely
No.
harmless. So, like, even
Yeah.
though it is annoying, it's not even a threat. It's just kind of a nuisance.
No, it's like, oh, you weren't supposed to come back here. Well,
Yeah.
randomly this thing.
It's not awful, but it's very pointless, so I'm gonna put it in D.
Oh, I'd say so for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not any higher than that. It's a cool idea, but, like, there's no reason for it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. I think if maybe they would have put it in the water area of Pikmin 1, Perplexing Pool, but whatever it's called in Pikmin 1,
Yeah.
I think that it may have fit better because of the whole water theme, but just to randomly throw it in the first area just seems pretty pointless.
Yeah. So, Beady Longlegs. Now, just for the sake of, not being redundant here, we're including the Baldy Longlegs from Pikmin 3 kind of in the same category because it's essentially the exact same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Beady Longlegs is a pretty, like, iconic Pikmin boss in my opinion. Like, it's something that I remember. But man, if you fight this thing with, like, a lot of Pikmin,
It's
you're gonna
hard.
get squashed
It's
so easily.
hard. It's so much easier
it's
with
tough.
a smaller squad, but when you have a smaller squad, it takes so long.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the best way to fight it is maybe like with wings, so they can just swarm the head. But other than that, like,
I never
bring-
thought to do that. I don't
thing
know
is,
why.
I've never done it either because when I fight them, I don't have wings, or I don't have them with me. But that would be the best strategy. But also taking rocks, but then they have to climb all the way up, and then they get shaken off.
Or
it's
you could just like stand under it and like do chip damage from the bottom.
That is true.
That takes forever, but it's easy.
Mm-hmm. This boss is kind of time consuming.
It's
No matter what game.
Yeah, it's time consuming, but it's also like it can go by very quickly, but it's also really hard if you do that. If you're almost guaranteed to lose Pikmin if you want to do this
Oh,
fast.
for sure. For sure. Especially if you take like a giant swarm,
Yeah.
they're gonna get squashed.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They can only climb up the legs in 3, right?
Yeah, that's something that bothered me when I was playing through it in my last playthrough. It took forever, and I was like, why aren't you guys just swarming the head? And they had to climb up, and we'll get to the hairy one later, but that one's even a worse case, man.
Yeah. So, like, I like this boss because it encourages you to think of, like, wait, maybe this is a situation where having a full squad isn't a good idea. So, like, it
Yeah.
actually does give you a good incentive to, like, strategize a little bit more. That being said, the ideal strategy takes freaking forever.
Yeah. Thing is, I like the boss too, but I will say when like one spawns, I'm like, oh, great, all right.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in B.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good placement for it. It's not bad, but it's something I don't want to fight if I don't have to.
Yeah, like I would much rather avoid this thing if possible, just because, like, especially in 3, you have to set like a whole day aside to take care of one of these things.
Oh, for sure. Now, the next one that comes up is actually my favorite boss in all of Pikmin.
In every game?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
The thing is, I find it very unique on how it's the only enemy or boss to do this. It uses poison and then it turns the Pikmin into mushroom Pikmin. And after you fight the boss and the mushroom Pikmin die. But I just think that's such a cool idea that is really underused. And I wish it was maybe used in other games that had like white Pikmin, because that would fit with the whole poison thing. Because it turns them into mushroom Pikmin, and it's the only Pikmin enemy to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't the slug things also do that? But no, they don't. They just like have poison gas that comes out, and they don't actually like transform them. So now that I'm actually thinking about that, that's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm. I really wish it appeared again.
Yeah. My only issue with this boss is that it's way too easy.
Yeah.
Especially because it's in the Forest Navel, which is like where the game starts not messing around.
Mhm.
You encounter this thing around the same time you encounter Beady Longlegs, and Beady Longlegs is significantly harder.
Especially in the first game.
Yeah.
I think that if they should had placed it maybe in the Forest of Hope,
Yeah,
maybe
if this
that
was
would have been a threat.
if this was like the first boss of the game, that would have been great. But it's just like it's like dead in the middle of the game. It's not close to the end. It's not close to the beginning. It's like right in the center, and it's so easy.
I think what we're learning is that in the first Pikmin game, because in beta videos and stuff, we see bosses that they're in different areas. I think at the end of the development, they were like, "Oh, let's mix it up and just put these bosses where they probably shouldn't be."
Yeah. It's like, have you seen that Twitter account, Cats Where They Shouldn't Be?
Yes.
It's like that. Pikmin bosses where they shouldn't be. What the? There's a chicken in my backyard.
Oh.
I don't know where it came from, but there he is.
He's here. He heard us talking about Pikmin and he came running.
I'm thinking either I want to put this in S tier, but it's just so easy. I feel like I want to put it in the top of A.
Yeah, I think that fits. That's valid. I wish it was harder.
If it was
Especially
just a
with the-
little bit more challenging.
Maybe if the range of the poison was bigger or something, maybe that would make it a little more difficult.
I think the biggest problem with it is that it's so easy to cheese it, because like if you have a big squad, and for the most part in Pikmin 1 that's a good idea because you're not splitting up captains. You don't have to worry about that. So like in general in Pikmin 1 you kind of almost always by default have a much larger squad than in the other games. And the problem is having a lot of Pikmin makes this boss ridiculously easy because it has so little health. You can just like 0 to death it. You can one cycle this thing so easily.
I have one cycled it before. I always wish the fight was longer.
If this thing had more health, it would be S tier.
Yes.
It's so frail.
Sorry, Mushroom Boy, you need to toughen up.
Yeah. I really want to see this one make a comeback though someday. That would be cool. Now the bane of my existence in the first game. This thing scared the crap out of me the first time I played it.
Same.
Everyone's
giant egg.
Everyone's just like, oh, the water wraith is the scariest thing in the Pikmin series. No, the smokey progg is the scariest thing in the Pikmin series because there's this just lone egg out in the middle of nowhere that beckons you. It's just like, come look at me. I'm interesting. I spawn only on a late day, so I must be something unique. And then you do, and this phantom frog comes out and starts chasing you, makes a beeline directly for your base, and you're just like, oh god, what do I do?
That's pretty. The thing is, it's even worse when you're carrying Pikmin are carrying things back to base, and if one like randomly stops carrying something, and this has happened before, like it'll get distracted and start hitting the egg.
Yes,
There's been playthroughs
yes,
where
and it will accidentally spawn it for you.
Yes, I'm not even by the egg, and then all of a sudden I see it on the horizon.
You'll just see your numbers go down. You'll be like, what's going on? And then you look, and then you like turn the camera, and you see a bunch of little ghosts over by your base. Meanwhile, this phantom thing, this like terrifying apparition is floating in front of the onion. You're just like, what is that?
You know what's the worst thing? That's the baby version of the Mamuta, which is completely harmless.
Also, I don't remember if it's insta-kill, but this thing is hard too.
Oh,
like it's
insta-kill.
It's like
insta-kill.
This thing is like an SCP. You put Pikmin in its path, and they just disintegrate. That's horrifying.
Seriously, all the toxic waste of all Earth went into this egg and made this creature.
It's so creepy.
It's so hard to fight, even when you know it's insta kill. You have to hit it like directly on its head. Or else.
Because doesn't it leave like a sludge path or something that also kills?
And that's an insta kill as well.
Oh my god! I just remember all of my memories of the Smokey Progg are just like either my Pikmin opening the egg by accident and I'm just not realizing that it spawned, or me being like on my first playthrough, what's this? Oh no!
On my first playthrough, I knew what to expect, so I ignored the egg. But like I said before, what happened was a Pikmin just decided to open up the egg.
I did
without me
not
convincing
have
you.
that luxury. I did not know about this thing at first. And it scared the crap out of me. I'm thinking I kind of want to put it in S, but I feel like I can't just because, like, it kind of similar to Ghoulix, there is not really a point to it.
It doesn't have a ship part.
It doesn't.
The thing is, if this was the final boss, that'd be another story.
Yeah. But it's optional, and it only shows up, like, late in the game, too. Which, honestly, I think is actually really, really clever game design, unlike Ghoulix, because Ghoulix spawns on a late day, and you're just like, why is this in the first area? This is not even a threat. This thing is, this thing, like, punishes you for taking too long. So it encourages you to, like, get what you need to do done.
I think it could go in A then, yeah.
I think I'm gonna put it in A. I want it to be S, but, like, it's not required, so you can just straight up avoid it.
That is true. I kind of wish that there, like, if you had to defeat it to get the best ending of the game or something, like it has the final ship part or something.
If there was something like that, I think it would probably be S tier, but because it's optional and there's not really any major benefit to fighting, I think it just gives you another pearl, right?
Yeah, it gives you a pearl for 100 Pikmin, but man, after fighting it, you lose so many Pikmin.
Yeah, it's unlike the Ghoulix, like, where it's kind of like, I don't really need this. After dealing with this thing, you probably will.
Exactly.
Just because it just eats them up like nobody's business.
Yeah! I know that every, like, Pikmin enemy and boss, like, has a certain amount of Pikmin it can kill at a time. I don't know what the limit is on this thing, because it's so much.
I don't think it has one, actually.
Is that might be it. That might be why.
I honestly don't think it even has one. Which kind of makes it even more terrifying.
Yeah. Pretty much if you just left your entire 100 Pikmin squad at base, they're dead.
So, Emperor Bulblax, just for the sake of, like, not being redundant here, we did, like I said before, with the bosses that recur, we're not really counting them separately. But in Pikmin 2, this thing is significantly easier than it is in 1. It's a lot smaller. It's way smaller, and it has way less health.
Because it's not treated as a final boss. It's treated more so like a boss enemy, like kind of like a sub enemy type of thing.
Yes. Now this might be an unpopular opinion, and I'm well aware that I'm probably just really bad, but I think the final boss of Pikmin 1 is, like, way too hard for its own good.
Honestly, I will say that the final boss is difficult in Pikmin 1.
It's just the thing that makes it difficult is because, like, it's kind of a similar problem to the Beady Longlegs. Like, there is a fast way to beat it, but it's very risky. And if you mess up, it can just, like, squish all of them.
Yeah, it can squish like a Wallywog. And the thing is, I have problems with the Pikmin AI in the first one. And one of my problems is with the bombs.
With the bomb, yes. They take so long to throw them. Like, they'll just stand there for a couple seconds and be like, throw? And they'll be like, yes, throw it already, please. It's sticking out its tongue. It's gonna eat you. Throw. Please, you're going to die. Throw. And then he'll get eaten anyway.
The thing is, I will say, the last time I played the first Pikmin game, which was like about a year ago, in the final boss, I could not get any of my Pikmin to throw. They just ended up being eaten while holding the bomb rock.
Yeah, that's what kept happening to me too. Like, I kept feeling like I was playing Pikmin 2 and throwing whites at the enemy. Because, like, they just kept being suicide bombers, and I'm like, guys, you're supposed to throw it. What are you doing?
My country, no.
And from what I understand, I think the AI was improved, like, very, very marginally in the Wii version, so it was probably even worse for me than it was for you.
Probably.
But, like, I don't know what it is, just, like, you can beat it without bomb rocks. It is very possible.
You can?
Yes.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
It takes a very, very long time, but you can do it. Basically, you just throw Pikmin on its face like you do when it's stunned, and you can still damage it. It just takes forever. Because, like, it does very, very little damage. But you can do it.
In one of my playthroughs, when you walk into the boss arena, what I do is I hug the wall so I can climb up on the ledge.
That's what I always do.
The boss. But in one of them, one of my Pikmin decided to trip, triggering the boss before it was ready. So that was
that's
fun.
so unfortunate. So, like, I don't know. I like the idea of this boss. It is a fair, like, a good, fair challenge. And I like the difficulty of it, but at the same time, compared to the rest of the game, I feel like it's a difficulty spike.
Yeah. I would say so.
But, like, the fight itself is not bad. I think I'm gonna put it in B, right next to Beady Longlegs. Because, like I said, it kind of has the same problem. Like, you can beat it without too much problems, but, like, the safe, quote-unquote, way takes so long.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I don't like how they nerf him so much in Pikmin 2.
Yeah, Pikmin 2 is the opposite problem. It's way too easy.
I feel like he's not a threat. It's like, oh, hi.
You can just brute force it with, like, no effort.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that covers Pikmin 1. Pretty middle of the road, all things considered.
Yeah.